granted in the Constitution or through specific laws, the National Assembly may have the authority to propose, debate, and approve its compensation packages. Check and balances in democratic systems. There are often check and balances to prevent abuse of this power. For example, salary increases might require approval from an independent commission,
right,
the president, or a higher chamber in a bicameral legislation, just as we have. Public transparency and accountability. In many democratic nations, there is a requirement for transparency and public accountability. Salary allowances changes are often subject to public scrutiny and debate, and members of parliament may face backlash or criticism if the increases are deemed excessive.
Right.
There are also independent bodies in some of these countries that establish independent commissions to review, recommend salaries and allowances for lawmakers to ensure they are fair, reasonable, in line with public expectations and economic conditions. Right. So overall, national assemblies, while often have the power to fix their salaries and allowances, the process is usually regulated to prevent conflict of interest and ensure public accountability. Now, in our country, Nigeria today, our constitution, as captured, that is 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as specifically in section 70 of the Constitution, states that salary and allowances of members and the National Assembly is to be determined by Revenue, Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. Mm-hmm. They are the one that have the authority to determine the salaries and the allowances of the National Assembly, along with other public officials. Then, if you look at the revelation of the senator,
forgotten his Kawu, yes, Senator Kawu.
Yes, Kawu, thank you. Revelation of Senator Kawu. You agree with me that the Revenue Mobilization and Revenue Mobilization Allocation Fiscal Commission, as an independent body tasked with determining the remuneration appropriate for various categories of public officials, including the president, vice president, ministers, you understand?
Yeah.
And other officials, it goes contrary to their statutory job, that's why you see banter or counter claims, because when that revelation came out, you saw the AFC or something like that. Yeah. That is a Revenue Mobilization Allocation Fiscal Commission coming out to say a different thing from what the lawmaker is saying. And we also have other ex-National Assembly members who has, concur with the position of the serving senator, like Senator Shehu Sani and others, claiming that yes, it's true that they receive huge sum as against what this guy, those guys at Revenue Mobilization are saying. Now, putting the jigsaws together, just as recent as December 2023, we saw the language, used by the chairman of the National Assembly and the president in addressing this particular issue, when he said that I don't know how he put it, that some amount has been paid to National Assembly for Christmas. Are you there?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes. I remember he said that.
Hello.
Prayers. Can you? Yeah.
Prayers have been sent to
prayers have been sent to the.
Hello.
Can you hear us? Hello. All right. We will get with him in a short bit. But yes, it's really a very what would I call it? Funny, but it's not funny because nobody's laughing. But it's disturbing. When we had that on national television. I mean, for some heard it once and it had to play back twice in their ears, and it was really not a very 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 nice statement. At some point we saw the Senate President he was met by somebody who probably whispered in his ears and said,
called his attention.
I think you've said it awfully wrong.
Yeah.
And then he tried to correct it. But yeah, we're back with you now, comrade. Hello, comrade. Hello, comrade Gerald. Are you there? Oh, come on. All right. Well, yeah. So, well, that is that for that. Well, we're still talking, the matter on ground, and it's contextually, if you're to put it, into a contextual analysis, the National Assembly's actions are unconstitutional, and it does seem as though it is a breach of their fiduciary, duties. Now, Section 70 of the Nigerian Constitution stated that the RMAFC shall determine the remuneration of public officers, including lawmakers. However, though, the National Assembly has consistently ignored the provision of and they went ahead to fixing, their own salaries and allowances. Now, this practice has been a breach of the lawmakers' fiduciary duties, as they are entrusted with managing public resources for the benefit of the people and not themselves. Little wonder the people are beginning to ask questions. And some would want to come from the place of, why is the RMAFC coming at a time like that to putting out, such an information? Would it be out of the abundance of their hearts, the benevolence of their hearts, because they want us to see the rot in the system? Or is it just them giving us an information so that we just get to clear the doubts? Because we've seen controversies beginning to pile at the time that monies were being, the cutting down of cost of governance, became a very strong argument. But, comrade, are you there?
Oh, yes.
Yes, so if we recall that it was prayers that were sent into...
prayers.
Yes,
Thank you for reminding
were sent.
Even as the network is frustrating,
understood.
Sometimes the attitude and approach to governance in Nigeria, especially in Nigeria, I will not say Africa, but there are some African countries that are getting it right, makes it look as if it's a jackpot for anybody that wins the election. You understand? It's not issue of coming to service, issue of coming to eat. Collect your own part of the cake. That's the impression we are getting. That's why even somebody that can board a tricycle, bike, Okada, will go there, his eyes will be on SUV. You understand? The lifestyle and everything will change automatically. It will show that they are not there to serve the people, but to serve themselves. Now, National Assembly determining their salaries and allowances, have they committed offense in any way? The answer is yes, no matter how you put it, because the language of using oversight war functions or impress or whatever language they use is the same revenue mobilization allocation and fiscal commission that it determines. In fact, there was a time they nicodemously inserted the hardship allowances into some of these benefits and the wages they are collecting. Nobody knows the amount. Now, if National Assembly in Nigeria independently determines and pays its own salaries and allowances without following the guidelines set by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, it will be considered an illegal act and violation of the Nigerian Constitution. Now, these are the key points you need to take note. According to the 1999 Constitution, 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission is the only body constitutionally empowered to determine the salaries and allowances and benefits of public officers, including National Assembly and even the presidency and the rest. Now, violation of the law, if the National Assembly are to unilaterally decide on the pay and pay itself salaries and allowances, that deviates from the recommendations made by Revenue Mobilization Allocation Fiscal Commission, it will be considered a breach of law. This would contravene the established legal framework that regulates public sector compensation and could be seen as an abuse of power and public resources. And that is what it is. Now, consequences and accountability. Such action could result in several legal and political consequences, just like you saw the SERAP, threaten and other organizations that have the interest of this country at heart. These include oversight actions. Other branches of government, such as the executive and judicial, might intervene. Civil society organizations also, and general public could also demand accountability. Now, you look at possible legal action as civil society organization led by, I think, SERAP and other agencies are looking at taking. It's okay. These members of National Assembly who participate in such illegal determination and payment could face prosecution for corruption and abuse of power or financial misconduct under relevant Nigerian laws, including the EFCC, ICPC Act, and Code of Conduct. Now, we need to have transparency and compliance with regards to our laws. Adherence to the guidelines set by these constituted authority like Revenue Mobilization Allocation Fiscal Commission ensures that the process of determining salaries and allowances is transparent, fair, and in line with the Nigerian economic reality. Deviating from these established rules undermines public trust and governance integrity. So, therefore, in summarizing this, the National Assembly in Nigeria, by passing these constitutional processes, pays itself salaries outside what constituted authority recommends, is indeed committing an offense in Nigeria, and it should be challenged.
Right, it's committing an offense, then it should be challenged.
Right, thank you very much, Comrade Kachi, for that insight. Whilst we must give it to SERAP for, filing lawsuits almost every now and then, one would begin to wonder, the place of the Revenue Mobilization, a commission, the RMAFC, because at this point in time, while one would want to say that this practice has been ongoing for quite some time, yes. Does it mean that the Revenue Mobilization Fiscal Allocation Commission has lost its steam, in the sense that you're supposed to raise alarm, if possible, when you see that there is some sort of contravention? If the Constitution states, or the Constitution has actually empowered you to determine, the salaries of, people at the National Assembly, the president and whatnot, and then something is being done contrary to that, to the provisions, are you not supposed to raise alarm? Is it that the Revenue Mobilization Fiscal Allocation Commission, is that commission, is it handicapped, or it does not really have the backing, of the Nigerian laws to carry out, its duties or functions?
Well,
are you there, comrade?
Yes, the network is fluctuating. Sometimes peak and sometimes cracks.
Yeah, but can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear now.
In the light of all of this, could this mean that the RMAFC, the Revenue Mobilization, as an agency, is somewhat afraid to beaming the searchlight on the National Assembly, and is rather wanting to play the ostrich and then take a step backwards and wait to see the reaction of Nigerians over this revelation?
You see, one thing I know is that he that goes to equity must go with a clean hands. That's what we are told in a legal framework. You understand? RMAFC, not really. If they claim not to know of what is going on, I think it's being economical with truth. That is for sure, because there's no smoke without fire, and their inability to confront it, if at all such a thing happen and they discover it happened, is because they already have soiled their own hands. Because if they have clean hands and they are doing their job as a constituted, in a most professional way and with regards to the interest of the country at heart, they can challenge this. Even before the senator begin to inform us that they collect 21 million, we should be hearing it from the constituted authority like Revenue Mobilization Allocation Fiscal Commission. We should be hearing it from them, showing that they are doing their work. Not only when it's leaked or out of pomposity, abuse, and nonchalant attitude, they one of their own announce it. They begin to do damage control. Don't be surprised that once they reconvene now, the Senator Kauda made that thing will be made to face what Alin Dume face. Will be made to face what Ningi face. Because what happens at this current National Assembly is that if you are a member and try to review what is going on or oppose anything, you will be made to face consequences that will make you to keep quiet, that will suppress your voice. So that is the situation. So we hearing it from a different angle, from different corner, is because those that are working with Revenue Mobilization Allocation Fiscal Commission are not living up to expectation. They are not doing their job properly. Because if they are, there are certain things that we expect them to do. Amidst hardship and hunger that we are facing in the country today, we are seeing our president buying another jet, whereas we have over close to 10 presidential jets. That if one is 40, others are not 40. If they are doing their job amidst hardship and hunger, economic challenges and austerities that we are facing today, we should not be seeing the same National Assembly buying SUV worth 150 million, whereas in Nigeria we have manufacturing companies, manufacturing companies that can produce even better than what they are buying. We have the likes of North, we have the likes of GAC, we have the likes of Innocent, and many others. So instead of patronizing, even if there are needs for it, patronizing our own to boost our economy, they choose to go outside. So if they are doing their work, we shouldn't be seeing our president buying a Cadillac worth almost $1 billion. Whereas we have all these manufacturing companies that even produces some armored vehicles for our military. So if that RMAFC is working, we shouldn't be seeing the presidency considering buying yachts. There are certain things that they have that statutory right, authority as enshrined in our constitution to put a stop, to put in check. But we get it from outside, and what they normally do, which maybe I see they do nowadays, is to do damage control. So I think this is the time we need to strengthen our institutions of government. If that RMAFC is constituted by our constitution, as an authority, they should be made to serve independent without interference. But as it stands today, obviously, it appears like hands are soil.
But it just takes us back to the fact that as many clamoring for the independence of certain strategic agencies in the country. I mean, we've talked about the independence of local government, where we spoke about the autonomy, and that was granted, even though it's still in a process. But yes, many believe it's a step in the right direction. It's just the baby, steps. That's what we are taking. Others have come from the place of the ICPC being independent, the EFCC being independent, quite a number of agencies being independent. That seems to be yet another topic for another day, and then it goes to the place of whether or not they have the constitutional backing to be independent indeed, with the true sense of the word. But let's open the phone lines right now, so that get to hear from Nigerians, get to hear what the family is saying in the respect of the topical issue in discourse. Number to call will be 0908 766 8888, 0908 766 8888, and the WhatsApp portal number where you should only send a WhatsApp message to would be 0909 705 4450, 0909 705 4450. And yes, we're still talking on the topical issues, but then Comrade Gerald, do you think that there might be any consequences from this very act of the National Assembly? And why do you also feel that the National Assembly is seemingly not being loud and vocal, especially in a time like this, to douse the tension? Let's just take this call, though. Hello and good morning.
Good morning, Ujok.
Yes, good morning, Alamin. Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Alamin from Central.
All right,
I agree with our guest. I agree with most of the things they have said. But however, I want to disagree. Look, statutory allocation, you do not dictate to the receiver of statutory allocation what to do with their allocation. The same way, as a civil servant, you cannot tell me what to do with my ESTA code and my DTA. In the same way, so why we should separate emotions from the law. We should separate morality. What is immoral might be lawful, what is unlawful, might be moral. Can we stop, projecting morality as the law? I'm against, the allocation, the purchase of 160 million each SUV for the National Assembly, but they have not broken any law. Their statutory allocation, and you do not dictate to them what to do with it. The same way you decide whether to use foreign or Nigerian car. I would have loved for them to tell me if he's driving a made in Nigeria vehicle. It is not National Assembly alone that we should advocate. Why are we Nigerians now also patronizing, made in Nigeria? And on the National Assembly, the setup, I think it's a good thing. For us to always test our laws. I'm always, in support of it. The fact that, the National Assembly over time have been fixing their running costs and allowances. I think it is time for us to know now, let the law be tested. Is it constitutional? I mean, once, I think this needs to be laid to rest because it has been on for the longest time. It has been the tradition. So it is time for us to test the law and really know what the law says. But for me, like I said again, as a civil servant, the revenue mobilization and fiscal, commission does not fix or determine the DTA that is paid to civil servants that are going on a duty tour. They do not so determine the DTA for foreign trips. So is that the same thing that is also applicable to National Assembly? This is why I want the law to be tested, so we'll be able finally get to separate, put emotions away, and stop projecting morality as breaking the law. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Alamin, for that one. Though you can also join the conversation 0908-766-8888, and of course the WhatsApp portal number would be 09097054450.
Right, Alamin, thank you for your contribution. But statutory allocations refer to the funds allocated to various arms of government, institutions, or individuals as mandated by law or the Constitution. In Nigeria, statutory allowances are determined by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission, that's the RMAFC, which is responsible for reviewing and adjusting the allocations periodically. Now, while it's okay for people to separate emotions from what is lawful, one would also say that there is a place for transparency and also accountability, especially a country like Nigeria that is practicing democracy over 20 years of uninterrupted democracy. Then you must also understand the fact that it's okay for the people to ask questions, for them to know, because in a situation, I mean, just as it is at the moment, the harsh economic reality, it is telling on, almost everybody, if not everybody. So for an average Nigerian on the street who thinks that he or she is not enjoying the dividends, of democracy, and then we have our lawmakers who are actually living, the life, quote and unquote, it's only okay for people to ask questions, and that is where the place of this Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission actually comes in. If it is your constitutional responsibility to determine the salaries of these lawmakers, why have you not been, living up to expectation? Are you handicapped? Is there something Nigerians actually need to know? I think it's about time these agencies they live up to expectation, and if not, again, they're having calls for some agencies to be scrapped and be merged. you're taking that to the
Rosario
report.
report. Yeah.
But where are we today?
Right.
It all boils down to trying to reduce the cost of governance, because it is pretty expensive.
Right. Well, comrade, I know you've been itching to, throw your voice on that one.
Oh yes. I totally disagree with our beloved caller with regards to statutory allocation or running costs, as he may put it.
Yeah.
Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission are responsible. They are responsible in providing guidelines, recommending the remuneration allowances and running costs for all public officials, including National Assembly. They may not directly allocate funds, but they recommend the framework for such allocations or running costs, as whatever language you put it, whether it's SUV, whether it's hardship allowance, whether it's oversight, whatever language you put it. Revenue Mobilization and Allocation and Fiscal Commission, they are the independent body established by the Nigerian Constitution, and its primary role is to determine and recommend appropriate salaries, allowances, other remunerations for public officials. You understand? So coming to say maybe BTA allocation, no, it's trying to use the vocabulary to confuse even the learned. There's no expenses made in the National Assembly that Revenue Mobilization and Allocation and Fiscal Commission does not have a say in it. These running costs include funds for constituency projects, office maintenance, staff salaries, transportation, and other related expenses. The National Assembly budget is part of the federal budget, which must be approved by the National Assembly itself after being proposed by the executive branch. Statutory allocation and budget the National Assembly has statutory allocation in national budget. Yes, we know that. The allocation covers various aspects of the operation, including running costs. But the Revenue Mobilization and Allocation and Fiscal Commission provides a framework and guideline for how much can be allocated to this cost based on economic situation. The actual budgeting and releasing of funds are done by the federal government through the budgeting process. So, he coming to say BTA or allocation it has not said any expense is done there. Revenue and Mobilization and Allocation Fiscal Commission have a say in it. So there's no two ways about it.
Right.
And the essence of that is for oversight and transparency issues.
Right, but it does seem as though the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, has provided for statutory allocations in Section 162, which states that the Federation shall maintain a special account to be called the Federation Account, into which shall be paid all revenues collected by the government of the Federation. Now, the Constitution also specifies the allocation formula, which also includes 52.68% for the federal government, 26.72% for the state government, 20.60% for the local government. But then, when you also look at the matter that concerns statutory allocations for National Assembly members, well, it's not explicitly stated in the Constitution. However, Section 70 of the Constitution also provides for the payment of salaries, allowances, and other benefits to members of the National Assembly. But then, we should also be aware, right? And this is the place of information of the fact that the National Assembly Service Commission is responsible for determining the remuneration and benefits of National Assembly members, and that also includes annual salaries, allowances, and constituency, accommodation, transport, other benefits, and so on, even pensions and gratuities. But then these are the concepts. But then when you look at it wholesomely, comrade, just as I have said before on this platform, we say that the EFCC is like a watchdog, right? And the question is always, who watches the dog? Who watches the watchdog himself? Now, we are having a National Assembly with all of these allegations here and there, some having part truth, others mere controversy and on speculation. The National Assembly has not come out to speak on the matter. That's one. Secondly, the RMAFC, after giving us what they thought was supposed to be the right thing for each senator to earn, about 1.06 million naira monthly, have also kept mum. And that being said, the question again is, who will indeed supervise the National Assembly to ensuring that they also, or whoever is in the practice, or in the practice of this, is brought to book. Who are we bringing to book now when we keep talking National Assembly, National Assembly, National Assembly in a matter like this?
I think it's the leadership of the National Assembly, and that is why many of us are calling for not just constitutional review, but possible having a new constitution, mass-based constitution, because some of these things, in constitution, they will make constitutional provision in one place. They will now use in a Nicodemus way, insert another thing that will counter that particular provisions, where at the end of the day become a debate, that's subject to interpretation by the judiciary. Now, if we are looking for who to hold responsible, I think it should be the leadership of the National Assembly, led by the national chairman of the National Assembly. Chairman of the National Assembly. That's the Senate President.
Okay.
Ababi, and his vice. That's the Speaker.
Yeah.
So all those rank officers, including the clerk, should be made to be answerable to some of these exorbitant and outrageous earnings. It is a well-known fact that Nigeria is one of the top. Nigerian National Assembly is one of the top earning National Assembly in the world. We earn even more than the people we copy the democracy from. You understand?
Right.
If there should be anybody that should answer for these kind of things, it should be those in leadership position, because I'm sure that there are certain individuals that if they had their way, if they find their way in National Assembly and made to be Senate President, some of these things will not be going this way. You understand?
Right.
There are individuals, when you take them that place and they find themselves, it become an issue. But such people, with the situation we find ourselves today, many will not find their way up to that ladder. Because for you even to be elected in Nigeria today, you must give and take. Your unwillingness to give will be your bottleneck from attaining that position. In most cases, we don't do things on merit, but on paddy. What do you have on the table? Who do you know? And that is why we are struggling. That is why we are calling that we should have a true restructuring of this country.
Right.
Let every region go and do what works for them. If we think that we should be living extravagant life, if any region decide to live extravagant life, they should face it. If there's any region that they decide to, be transparent in their running the affairs of their region, they do it. It will become competitive. If you see that these people are being cautious and magnanimous with regards to their expenses, you copy from it. But today, it's because a competition of who we grab more than the another. Who we grab more than. If you look at the budget of 2024, you begin to see, when they begin to scrutinize, you begin to see some senators frowning that another senator is getting more constituency project or allocation more than them. It because which position are you holding? And it does not tell good. And with that kind of situation, you go back to your constituency, they begin to tell you XYZ is doing so ABC in his own constituency. Why are you not doing STEM? It does not bring healthy competition. It does not even help them to concentrate in their work. That is the reason why today you see most of these National Assembly members leaving their legislative work, dabbling into executive work.
Okay, comrade, there is a bit of concern, right? There is a bit of concern, and we only thought it right to bring it to your knowledge as well as to the listeners' knowledge at this point in time.
Right, we understand that the Constitution provides a framework for statutory allocations, but the specifics are determined by the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Allocation Commission.
That's one.
And the National Assembly Service Commission. Now, the question would be, who checks who?
I think one of the who checks who is what we are doing today.
Constitution.
You know, because as it stands today, the money being spent is our money. It's not their money. That's theirs money. Understand? As we find ourselves today, that's why we are discussing it. If we begin to bring it to the fore, you know, continue to discuss it, it will make them to sit up. But when we are silent about it, nobody will act. So as we are discussing it, some of the NGOs or civil society organizations that maybe their core foundation aim and objectives is centered on issues like this, they can take it up.
Okay.
Just like they are seeing Sarah doing. You understand?
Yeah.
So it must not necessarily be government's constitutional authority to begin to watch themselves, because as it stands now, you cannot put as it stands today, because that's what you are seeing. You carry a bone and tie on the neck of a dog and ask dog to watch it. That is what we are seeing today. So we, the people, are the people that are supposed to put check and balances, and that is why it breaks my heart to see when people demand express their dissatisfaction with some of these things. They are being, given a bad name just to execute it, to destroy them. When people express their feelings, with regards to some of these nonchalant expenses, nonchalant attitude of our leaders, they are being given one name or the other. Just yesterday, one of our comrades was picked in a church because of bad governance protests, and the church members tried to resist. Once they were told that he's been arrested for a connection to murder. By the time they go to IRT yesterday, because that they were asking him, did you receive fund for protests? You begin to ask yourself, how did we get to this point? Right. Just like what we are discussing today.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So this part of discussions to project, watch the dog himself, watch the watchdog. May some of us that are being courageous in discussing such a thing, don't be surprised tomorrow you hear that I have been picked. Is a possibility.
And it goes back to what Nigerians are saying, that look, the moment you make a statement in that light, you are easily traced. But when it comes to banditry, corruption, those who are sponsoring it and all of that, we become somewhat cold-feeted, having no clue as to get to these people. But yeah, I understand your thoughts, and I'm hoping that would not happen, because yes, you are speaking, based on the ambit of the Constitution. But let's get to some messages via the WhatsApp portal as we call it a close on the topic today.
Samuel from Kuje says, good morning to you, my brother Odua.
Right.
Thank you.
That's right. Thank you.
And also to the guest. Daniel says, the reason why some of our leaders, if not all, are behaving like emperors of old is because they don't have the progress and well-being of the citizens at heart. The Constitution is not meant for them, but for the masses. That is why they will comfortably sit down and decide their own salaries and allowances without minding the Constitution. But when it comes to Nigerian workers and the masses, they will remember that there is Constitution. These people are not there to serve, but to loot and loot. And because they are not punished for committing crimes, that is why they are doing whatever they like. Nigeria is blessed all round, apart from the area of leadership. All right. This is from Samuel from Kuje.
We'll just take this one too.
Right. This is from
Tekimbi Hundu.
Okay,
all the way from Nasarawa State, yeah?
Right. This one here says, I greet your guest. I'm listening from Nasarawa State.
Right.
Any man who uses an elephant to set a trap, only God knows what he attempts to catch. During election, candidates in National Assembly spend as much as 28 naira or 28 million naira. I don't know what you actually meant, right? Yes. And then one wonders how they get those monies back. They tell us to be patient, endure hardship, make sacrifices, but they're not. Look at the CBN leadership that has just spent billions on getting bulletproof SUVs. Turkin the
Hundu.
Thank you.
Right.
So
And of course, to this one, it's going to be a smart read. Says, good morning, Mr. UD and Mrs. FA. Or Miss FA.
Miss
All right.
FA.
Feels good. All right, please, I don't understand this. We kept on deliberating on things day after day, yet things keep on getting worse. Or is it me that's getting it wrong? I don't know. Better still, can this visitors summon courage to go to the National Assembly and talk to them? That's talking about Comrade Gerald now. And talk to them, right? Says, okay. Because almost all the visitors normally speak well. Let them communicate this positive mind. Set to the National Assembly. Please, God, please bless Eagles FM. Patience Mashingi from Life Camp Extension. I mean, quite a number of messages still coming in, pouring in. Who's paying for the National Assembly members? Who's paying the National Assembly members? Are they not the same civil servants working with National Assembly? Are the members paying themselves? They should be in the best position to tell Nigerians how much is the pay of National Assemblies. That's talking about the RMAFC, except that the even National Assembly are, in collaboration with the RMAFC to, determining these monies. But James is also that's from Honorable Edwards, and James is also greeting FA and myself as well as a comrade. Say, who will bail the cat? Sarap has been vocal about issues bordering on transparency and accountability. The provisions of paragraph N, section 32D of the third schedule to the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended clearly makes it unlawful for the National Assembly to fix its salaries, allowances, and running costs. This is clear. But then, are we really surprised? There's a reason why the presidency have always chosen to have a rubber-stamped legislature in place. The CBN governor just recently splashed billions to purchase bulletproof vehicles for himself and his directors. Well, James, all the way from Suleja. I mean, I wish we could go up further, but we can't go any further on this one. I want to say a big thank you to you, comrade Gerald Okachi, for being that voice, in the midst of all of the noise. Thank you so much for being a part of this one.
For having me.
Right. And to you too, that has also contributed one way or the other. We want to say a big thank you. Tomorrow is yet another day. My name is Udwak Daniel.
And I am Omo Hefe Osamere.
Have a great day.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.